Right. So in the last class, we have seen how to automate login test and data-driven test case. So today we'll see a few more topics in the framework. So how we can group the test. So very simple concept. So whatever test cases we already automated, we can just add a grouping tag for every test. And after that, we need to also add setup and tear down methods to the groups. And after that, we need to just create a grouping.xml and we can simply run it. So we already have 3 test cases so far. So let me go to the project and go to the test cases directly. So 3 tests along with the data driven test, totally 3 tests. So first go to each and every test and I will add grouping tags. So to add grouping tags, first let's go to login test. And here, this is a verify login. So to add groups in the test, we can specify groups annotation. So groups equal to, I can make this sanity as this verify login is a sanity. Just a second. I think someone is writing something. Don't do that. Okay. All right. So I put add this sanity and I make this part of sanity login test. So after that, let's go to the regression. Let's go to the registration test. I'll make this part of groups equal to regression. So whichever group you want to add based upon your requirement, you can just add. So groups. Okay. So one added login test I have added to the sanity and account registration test I have added to the regression. And similarly, even the login DDT also, if you want to add, you can add this. So along with the data providers, all these things are right. So we can also add one more parameter here, groups. Okay, so I will add a separate group for this. I can say data driven because normally all the data driven test cases we will run as a separate group most of the times. So I can make this as a data driven group. Okay. And also I will add another group called master groups of sanity. And you can just, if you want to put multiple, you can just do like this sanity and master. So master means all the tests should be executed. So sanity and master. So these are the two groups. And account registration also, I'll make it as a part of master. Master is a which contains all the test cases. Master group. Okay. So if you have a single group, no need of curly braces, you can simply put in the double quotes. But if you have a multiple groups, you can put in the curly braces. Okay. Now login is belongs to both the groups sanity and master, and account registration test is belongs to regression and master, and DDT I'll separate it. Okay. Account data driven test. Okay. So now once you created this, we need tear down and setup methods for every test, right? So for every group we required. So we need to go to setup method, base class, even the before class method, and also this after class method also should be part of all the groups. So before class also we can add groups annotation, groups parameter, groups equal to, and this should be executed for all the groups. So I can say sanity, comma, regression, comma, master, all the groups. So data driven, I'm just, that is also we can add, okay, data driven. Okay, that is up to you. If you want to add, you can just, so this is your master group. Master means everything will comes under the master. So normally when you're dividing the group, sometimes you want to execute all the test cases, right? So in that case, you will select the master group. Okay, so for example, let's say you will have multiple test cases, right? Let's say this is sanity, this is sanity, this is regression, this is regression, this is also regression. So if you select only sanity, these two will execute. If you select only regression, these three will execute. And if you select master, then all the tests will be executed. Okay, so like this we can put. So master is a final group which contains all the tests. So sometimes master is also required because if you want to execute all the test cases, we will specify this master inside the group section in the XML file. Okay, so this is a base class. We specified all the groups in the base class. This is also needed. Okay, so I'll just skip the data driven for now because data driven test execution will take more time. So I'm just skipping that. Sanity, regression, and master. Master means all the test cases will comes under a master. Sanity is separate group, regression is separate group. And this tear down method also we should execute for all the groups. So we have to specify all three groups. So this is the first task. So whatever test or belongs to the particular groups, we can just add these tags. So once you added, then we need to create even base class setup of teardown methods also should be part of the groups. Otherwise, when you specify the groups in the XML file, so setup method, teardown method will not pick if you don't specify the groups. So those methods also should be part of all the groups. So now I'm going to create a new XML file called grouping.xml file. So let's close all these things. And we will also maintain a separate file called grouping if you want to execute only groups. Okay. So I'll take another copy from the master and I'll name it as a grouping. So we'll also maintain one single XML file for all the purposes. Okay, that is a different thing that I'll also show. Grouping.xml. So earlier in the grouping.xml, we have only test parameters we have passed and classes we mentioned, right? So now in this grouping, we need to also specify the group tag. So where we have to specify. So before starting the test, here we need to write a groups tag. Groups. And what is a groups contains? Groups contains a run tag. Inside the run tag, we should say include. Include name equal to which group you want to execute. You can specify this. I can execute sanity. So this is one include group. And again, it is depends on your requirement. So this keeps, you can change. Okay, so I can say this is include. And then I can write one more include. I can say whichever you want to include, you can just specify them. And also whichever you want to exclude, you can also write exclude tag. Exclude name equal to something. Okay, so include and exclude. This tag is not needed. So you can have like this for now. So in future, if you whichever group you want to execute, you can specify a sanity or regression or master, something like this. So if I say master, all the master test cases, let's say here I'm putting regression and here I'll put master. Okay, so if you want to execute only sanity, you can go with this. And if you want to execute only regression, you can go with this. And if you want to execute both sanity and as well as regression, then you can go with the master. So these are the three divisions. So once I added a groups, then we can execute this XML file. So even though we specified multiple tests here, I'll just try to enable this. All the test cases should be enabled. And all two I enable and data driven currently and just comment this case. Exclude means you can just exclude. Okay, just a second. So in include master section. Okay, so in future, if you want to remove something, suppose let's say I already told you when we have to use exclude section. So suppose some test cases are belongs to, let's say there is one test case which is belongs to both sanity and regression, right? So then I say sanity. That means what? Even regression test also will execute, but I want to execute purely sanity, but not regression. In that case, you can use the exclude. Otherwise, you can just simply comment this. So what I will do is I'll execute this master suit. So whichever group you mentioned there, so that is a particular group of test methods will execute. So you can just enable them later and then you can execute. So as of now, I'm not excluding anything because we already discussed this concept in detail in the last session. So you can just go through this. So master, I just specified. Okay. So now when I execute this XML file, which will pick master test, master test, and will execute. So as of now, under master, what are the tests we have added? Even account registration is also part of the master, and even login test is also part of the master. So both will be executed. But when I say sanity, then login test will execute. When I say regression, only account registration test will be executed. Okay, now go back to the grouping.xml file. So we maintain the separate XML file. For cross-browser testing, we already created one XML file. Now we have created grouping.xml file. Okay, I think this we have commented. Yeah. Perfect. Now let us try to execute. So very simple test, very simple way we can do it. Just add all the tags to every test case and then specify whichever group of tests we want to execute in the XML file. So two tests I have mentioned in XML file. So let's see how it is going to execute. So this is account registration test. It is got executed. And then this is login test, which is also successfully executed. Fine. So two executed, two passed. If I go back here and both master is executed. So now let me execute only sanity. I comment this. So sanity means only login will execute. No, even though if you already extended, when you're executing the groups, okay, those two methods will not be executed. If I go back and see base class, this base class is okay, that's fine. You have extended into login test, fine. But in the XML file, we specified the group name, right? So when you specify the group name, only particular method will be trying to execute. Okay, whether the methods from extended class are there or not, it doesn't matter. So whether the method is having this tag or not, that is the only thing which we'll consider. Okay, that is the reason, even though we have extended the base class, right? Base class methods will not be executed when you specify the groups in the XML file. So whichever group you specify XML file, only that particular related method will be executed. So that is the reason in the base class also, these two methods, setup method and tear down method also we should put in the all the groups. Because when I say groups in the XML file, it will try to execute only grouped methods. It will not consider any other methods. It can be a before class, after class setup, whatever it is. Even though you extended, those methods will not be triggered automatically. So that is the reason we have to specify the groups, even though you have extended. So that is the reason. Okay. Right. So login test and base class and grouping.xml. So let's execute only sanity now. So there is only one test under sanity. So let's execute. Okay, so only login test is got executed. So similarly, you can also configure whichever test. Whenever you create a test case, immediately you will also try to add tags to the test case. So that's again continuous process from the next onwards. Whenever you create a new test case, don't forget to add the grouping tag. So grouping is exclusively allows us to separate specific test suite based on their status, sanity, regression. Yes, Perfect. So grouping will exactly execute whatever the test we mentioned for the tag, because whenever you say some tag here, it will also fetch the test methods which are having this particular tag. If it could not find this tag, this will not execute, even though it is a setup method or tear down method or any other methods. So when I specify something in the group, only the methods, the test methods which are specified with this name will be picked up and execute, and all other test methods will be just ignored. Okay. So when I say sanity, only sanity will be captured. When I say regression, regression will be captured. When I say master, all sanity and regression will be captured. Okay, suppose if the particular test is belongs to both sanity and regression, but when I say sanity, that also will be picked. But I want to avoid regression, so I can put the regression in the exclude. So I have shown you all the scenarios during the test ng classes, grouping class. And if you're not understood this, you can go through that video once again. You will understand. I shown you all the scenarios, different scenarios, how we exactly exclude and include works and everything. Okay. So sanity, regression, master is a generic names most of the times we use. But apart from this, if you want to put any other names, that is also fine. You can put groups A, B, C, something like that, or you can give group name like 1, 2, 3. That is also fine. But always try to give a relevant name. So when I see that particular name or keyword, that should exactly reflect the what is a purpose. So master is a general term which we normally use, which is collection of everything. Sanity means a basic test cases. Regression means every cycle of the testing, we will try to identify some regression test cases and we will add. So that's the reason similar name I'm just giving. So there is no separate suit regressions. Yeah, you will have all the test cases. In all the test cases itself, you need to write this particular tag. For every test case, you need to identify. We can execute this as part of sanity or regression or something like this, and you need to identify. But you don't need to separately maintain any XML files for sanity group, regression group, anything. Just one single XML file for grouping is enough. In the same XML file, so it depends on your requirement. If you want to execute only sanity test cases, then you can put sanity and try execute. Then only master means all the tests. If you want to execute all the tests, put master and execute. So you just change only these parameters. Rest of the things are same. All the test cases will be here, and only just changing this parameter will pick required test cases and it will execute. Okay, because even if you have 100 test cases, every time you don't run 100 test cases. So it depends on the requirement. Suppose whenever you want to execute regression test case, suppose you get a build from the developer, new build, and you want to verify some regression test cases which are failed in the last builds, but they have fixed now. So simply you can put a regression tag and then execute the grouping.xml. So this will take care of all the regression test cases. So that's how we need to configure this XML file. Okay. So very simple concept. I already covered all the stuff in the previous classes. You can go through this in detail. So what we have done is we have added all the test cases to the specific group, either it can be sanity or regression. These are just our names, customized names. If you want to use some other names, you can use, no problem, but it should be always relevant name. And we need to also update setup and tear down method for all the groups, because these two methods should be required for sanity, regression, and also master, right? So we need to also keep this for every group. And then we will create a separate XML for grouping that is called grouping.xml file. That's it. This is how we can simply achieve the grouping concept. Is it clear, everyone? Please confirm in the chat box. So we no need to create a separate suite for sanity, regression, and everything. Only one XML file itself, grouping XML file itself, we will just specify the tag names. So that's it. And we don't need to create another XML file, sanity, regression, no need. One single XML will cover all the groups. Okay, so now, so let's move on to the next one. So since now we have mentioned grouping tags, so we cannot execute using master.xml. So master.xml still you can execute, no problem. No problem. So if you specify the groups, okay, it will capture the methods whichever you specified in the groups. So when if you explicitly specify the groups, it will pick the test only from the groups. If we do not specify any groups, for example, in the master example, so I have not specified any groups, then what will happen? It will execute all the test cases by default. Okay, if I don't specify any groups, it will execute all the groups by default. So that's the nature. Okay, because if you specify the groups in XML file, then only it will pick it. Is this particular tags will fetch the these particular include and excludes are there, right? So this will exactly fetch the particular name is available for the test or not here or not. If it is there, it is matching, then we'll execute. If it is not matching, then it will not execute. In the master.xml file, what happens? The groups itself we have not specified. So by default, when I execute this XML file, all the tests will be executed by default. Let me show you. So because if you specify the group include and exclude tag, then only it will consider the groups. Otherwise, it will not consider any of the groups. It will by default execute all the test cases. So let me put both the tests, account registration and login test. See, in this master.xml, I have not put any groups. So then still it will try to execute. So this is our registration test executed, and this is our login test. Perfect. So by default, all the tests will be executed through master suite. Okay. So now let's move on to the next. I hope everybody is clear on this grouping concept, very small concept. Can easily do this. Nothing is new. So that's the reason I asked everyone to practice test ng classes. Every class is important. Now again, the same topic is repeating here. All right. So now we go to external report, which is very, very, very important. Ultimately, we have to update all the test case results in the report, right? We need to generate the external report. So let's see how we can generate the external report for our project. These are all one-time tasks. So first thing, we need to have utility file, extend report utility class under utilities package. Okay, so let me take this question. Still, I'm getting some questions. So what if the test belongs to sanity and regression? Okay, and if you only run sanity, will it execute those test cases which belongs to both the groups? Yes, that also I have already shown you that scenario. Yes, it will execute. So if you just watch our previous video, I think you don't ask this question. See, I'm repeating once again, guys. Listen very carefully. So I have test case 1, test case 2, test case 3, test case 4, test case 5. Okay. This is belongs to only sanity. This is belongs to sanity and regression. This is also belongs to sanity and regression. This is regression. This is regression. Okay. Now in the include tag, you have to tell me answer. Include tag, I say sanity. Now tell me what are the tests will be executed in that list. T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. Among those 5, when I say include equal to sanity, what are the tests will be executed? No problem. So just tell me the answer for this. When I say include equal to sanity, what are the tests will be executed? How many are there under sanity? T1, T2, T3. 3 test cases, right? T1 will execute, T2 will execute, T3 also will execute. So because all 3 are belongs to sanity only, right? Suppose when I say include equal to regression, then tell me what are the tests will be executed? Regression. Regression. Regression means T1 is not belongs to regression. T2 belongs to regression. T3 also belongs to regression. T4 also belongs to regression. T5 also belongs to regression. That means T2, T3, T4, and T5. 4 tests will be executed. Okay. Now, what is my requirement is I want to execute only sanity which are not belongs to regression. Then how we can specify? Include, exclude. I want to execute purely sanity test, but not belongs to regression. So what are the test cases comes under here? Belongs to only sanity, but not regression. T1 is belongs to purely sanity. but not regression. T2 come into picture? T2. No, because that is also part of regression. We should not consider. T3? No. T4, T5, anyway, regression? No. I want to execute only sanity, but not regression. That means only I will get one test, T1. How we can specify? In include section, we can specify sanity. And in exclude section, you can specify regression. That's it. So if you want to get only sanity, which is not regression, so include sanity, but excludes regression. So this will return, it will execute only T1 test case. So this is the context. Okay. So similarly, I want to execute only regression, but not sanity. So then how we can specify? Include and exclude. I want to execute only regression, but not sanity. What are the test comes under picture now? Purely regression, but not sanity. T4 and 5, 4 and 5. Purely regression, but not sanity. So in include section, we say regression. In exclude section, we can say sanity. That's it. Okay, so I think everybody is clear now how we can do this. So these are the different things. So remember this, it is very simple. All right. So now shall we move on to the next one? So extend reports. So in extend report, the first and most important thing is we need a utility file. So extend a report utility file. So in the last classes, we already seen that utility file, but there are few things are missing in the utility file, like report name generation, how we can generate the report name with the timestamp, and how can we add screenshot on failures to the report, right? Instead of displaying the test methods, I want to display the test case IDs in the report. So these things are missing from the last report. So we will try to cover them in our current report. So I'll share this extend report utility class, which contains everything. Accordingly, you can use same thing. Just a second. Extend report utility. So where you have to put that utility class, in which folder? Under utilities package. Because generating extend report is a part of utility class. So I can put here extend report manager. Okay. So let's go and see this particular file, extend report manager. Okay, so this is a extend report manager file. So what is an error it is showing? Capture screen. Okay, no problem. So this is a utility file, extend report utility file. So I will go through each and every step. So let's carefully listen. So few things we already covered in the last sessions, and few more additional stuff I have added here. So this is same again, on start method, on test success. This is a listener class basically, right? It is a listener class. And on test failure, on test skip, then on finish. Okay. So let me tell you what exactly these will do. So first thing, on start. On start, we already discussed, right? A few classes are there. Extend Spark report or extend report, extend test. Again, I'm not going to explain all these things because we already covered. And what are the new stuff we have added in this? I will cover that part. So the first part is name of the report. So earlier we have given here the hard-coded name. We already created reports folder. So in this extend report will be generated. In this report folder, we have to generate the report. So earlier we have given a static name here. Let's say my report something.com, my report.html, something like that. So what is the problem when you give hard-coded name here is we cannot maintain the history of the reports. Suppose yesterday I have done one round of execution. Today again, one more round of execution I have done. So I want to verify the test results. Yesterday execution and today's execution, then it's not possible. So if you maintain the history of the reports, like yesterday report, today's report, then I can compare them. So in that case, what we need to do is whenever you create a report, if you create the report name with the timestamp, current timestamp, then we can maintain the report. Otherwise, what happens? If you give the static name, that will replace the old report name because name is the same exactly, right? Fine. So first step is we need to first create a date timestamp. Then we will append the date to the report name. So to create a date timestamp, this is a piece of code I can write. So let me go through this code and then I will do it. There is a class called simple date format, and the simple date format is a class which is there in java.text package. This is a predefined, okay? And df equal to new simple date. And in this, we have to specify in which format we have to generate the date, which format. So here first years, then month, date, hours, minutes, and seconds, along with the date and time also. Okay. So time also very important, because hours, minutes, seconds also very important. Why? Because in the single day, same day, you can run test case multiple times, right? So hours, minutes, and seconds also most important. So I will generate the date in this particular format. So this is a special class we have used. Simple date format. I created one object called df equal to new simple date format. I'm passing the format. And then to create the date in Java, we have a special class called date. Date equal to dt equal to new date. And after that, we already have a df, right? Simple date format. In that, we have a method called format. In this, we have to pass this date object, because we want to generate the date in the particular format. That's the reason. So in the date format object, dot format is a method. In this, we have to pass this date object. So this particular part will return the date in a string format. String format. So that will be in the exact this format. First year, month, date, hours, minutes, and seconds. So this piece of code we have to write to generate the timestamp, means which includes the date and current time. So instead of writing 3 steps, I can also write a single step. I can put all 3 in one single step. So this is a single step I put. So what I have done here is just you need to split the statement, then you can easily understand. So here simple date format df equal to new simple date format. I mentioned the date format. So to avoid this particular variable, I have taken this entire object here. Okay, new simple date format. And we store this object in a variable. And from this variable, we are calling the format method, right? So then what I've done, instead of creating this variable, I've just taken this part here, dot, I'm calling the format method. Both are same, right? If I store this in a variable df and df dot format, instead of doing that, I directly get this object dot format I have used. Simple. So I combined this one and this one too. And inside the format, what we have passed dt. What is this dt? New data. Date object we have stored. So instead of creating this variable, this new date, I directly have passed in the format method. Both are same, right? In the format method, we pass dt here. Same thing in the format method, I pass dt here. Both are same. So I have just combined these 3 statements into one single statement just by avoiding the multiple variables. So df is a variable I have avoided, and then dt also have avoided. Now that I can store in as timestamp. Okay, you can have 3 statements or you can have a single statement. So this is a timestamp. This is the way we can get the timestamp in Java, current timestamp. Now, by using this timestamp, we have to generate the name of the report. So I have taken one string variable here, rep name, which is representing report name. So report name equal to test hyphen report hyphen. This is the first name of the report hyphen, and I'm attaching the timestamp whatever I have generated. So I'm just concatenating the report name along with the timestamp, and extension of the report is what? .html. So I say .html. So I have concatenated. That means the overall the report name will be test hyphen report hyphen timestamp .html. This timestamp will be dynamically generated. Okay. So this is the ultimate report name. This particular name I will provide here. At the time of creating the new report, where exactly it is creating, in which location? Reports location. Dot is representing current project location. / reports folder. Inside the reports folder, the report name I specified here. So this is a way we can generate the report with the timestamp. So this is the first step. So here we specify the location of the report, and here we generated the timestamp. And timestamp, whatever we generated, that we have concatenated with our report name. Clear? So this is the first part. Now, rest of them are same. So this is the document title, report name, and theme. Okay. Now come to this part. In the last classes, we just hard coded a few values which are populated in the report, right? Like tester name, operating system name, browser name, and so on. But this time we will get that information dynamically. So if you look at here, application name, we have to hard code. There is no other way. So application name is OpenCat, module name, submodule name, and these are the project related, project specific details. So we specify them. And after that, so who is executed the test case? If you want to get the name of the tester, you can put username and system.get property of user.name. So this particular method will return the current user of the system, whoever is using your system, whoever is running your test cases, that particular name will be returned. So username, in the place of username, it will display the tester name. And environment QA, this we have to hard code. And the rest of the things we need to dynamically get. For example, in which operating system, from which operating system, no, this is not property file. So we are not getting anything from the property file. That's a totally different. So we are using a predefined methods to get the data from environment variables. So user.name is, it will return the username, current system user. Okay, so these are the few values we will populate in the report. Apart from this, you can also populate operating system, browser. Okay, and what are the groups of test methods we have executed? The groups information also we can put in the report in the common details. So how to extract the operating system is simple. So here, when I run this, when I execute this on start method, it will capture the test context. Test context is nothing but what? Which test method we got executed. So that test method details will be stored in this variable. So by help of this variable, I'm getting the current XML test. So this particular test is executed by which XML file. So I'm getting that XML file. From that XML file, we are getting the parameter OS. You remember, when you run the XML file, we are passing the parameters, OS and browser parameters from the XML file. So these are the values we need to capture into the report. So these are the values, whichever operating system we are passing, whichever browser name we are passing. So these are the two values which we have to capture into the report. So how to capture these values from the XML file dynamically is, this is the process. From the test context, get XML test. From that, get a parameter of OS. Similarly, text context, get the current XML test, get the parameter of browser. So these two statements will capture operating system and browser name from the XML file from where you have run. Okay, got my point? So operating system and browser name we are getting dynamically from the XML file. Whichever browser name we are passing, whichever operating system we are passing, obviously we have to get into the report. So these two values we are getting from the XML file. Any confusion here, anyone? So these are all the different methods which are available. So we are using those methods. You no need to remember all these things. It's very difficult to remember. Okay. So now groups also. So for example, I have run specific test cases and which groups they are belongs. That group information also I can populate in the report. So for that, from the test context, getting the XML file, basically get current XML test method will return the XML file from whichever XML file we have started run, that XML file will be returned. Okay. So from that XML file, get included groups. So what this method will do is, suppose if you run the grouping.xml file. Okay, suppose if you run this grouping.xml file. So we'll have some include groups, right? So what this command will do is, this particular get current XML test.get included groups. This particular method will capture the groups which we have specified in the include section. The group names which we specified in the include section will be captured and display them in the report. Display them in the report. For example, I don't have any groups. Suppose if I'm executing this master suit, I don't have any groups here. But then how come it will capture the group names if there is no group names, right? So that condition we have to validate here. Test context dot get current XML test, get included groups. We are getting all the groups in the list collection. Okay, we are getting all the groups in the list collection. And if include groups is empty, that means we are not running any groups. Then what we need to do is groups information just to specify the name, not empty, not operator I've used. Okay, if the group information is empty, it will not display any groups in the report. If the groups information is available, that means not operator, include groups that is empty is not, then add this information to the report, include groups dot toString. So this method will add all the group names to the report. But before adding the group name to the report, first of all, group names are available or not, that we need to check. So once available, then only add this. If it is not available, then don't add. So this is additional stuff we are going to add into the report. Okay, even cross-browser test results also will be added into the reports. And when you execute in the cross-browser test, it will generate multiple reports. For Chrome browser, it will generate one report. Firefox browser, another report. So multiple browsers, multiple reports will be generated. So that is a different context. Don't club here. I will show you that separately. Okay. So guys, you understood this, why you have written these statements. So these are the common data we populated. Along with that, few details we have to capture from the XML file, like operating system, browser name, because these are the values we have to pass through XML file, right, at the time of execution. So we have to capture these details from the XML file. That is the right way to capture instead of hard coding the data. Similarly, suppose if those test cases are attached to particular groups, then we will also capturing those groups and specify the or display the grouping information on the report. This is a first method, onStat method. Is this clear so far, everything? So cross-browser testing, forget about it. I'll come to that part. So till here, what are the additional information which we added? Is this clear? So even though if you're not understood all these methods, no problem. But at least you need to understand why we have written this statement, why this statement is written, all these things, why we verify this condition. So at least this much you have to be clear. So not include groups is a negative operator. Suppose, okay, let me explain by taking simple example. So I have not used not operator here. Let us say I have multiple test cases. Okay, so I have added to some group, sanity or regression something. So in the report, along with the test cases, along with the rest, we put some common information, right? Suppose these tests are belongs to specific groups. So I'm executing a specific group. So sanity, I'm specifying. Sanity group, I'm executing. So this information I want to put in the report. Okay. So these are the test cases are executed from the sanity group. I want to display this. Okay. Suppose some tests are regression, some are master. So I have executed sanity, regression, and master, multiple groups. So all the group information, whatever test case are belongs to multiple groups, all the groups information I want to, names I want to display in the report like this. Okay. So what we need to do is this particular command, test context dot get the current test dot get included groups. It will capture all the groups, whatever we have included in the XML file, and store them in the list collection. All the group names will be stored in the list collection. Okay. And then from this list collection, by using this toString, we are printing the groups. Suppose if these methods are not belongs to any of the groups, or I have not executed, first of all, grouping.xml file. I have run my master.xml file. In that, I don't mention any groups, right? In this particular case, how this will deal. But we don't have any groups in the XML file, right? So then what it will do is, it will try to capture all the groups. If XML file doesn't have any groups, then it will be empty only, right? The value will be empty. Empty is what? True. Is empty. This method we already discussed in the list collection concept. So if you have some elements, suppose in the list collection, I have some elements. So now I'm using is empty method. what this method will return, true or false. If I have some elements in this list collection, I'm using isEmpty method. What this will return, true or false? True. Why? Because there are some elements. Suppose I don't have any elements, it is totally empty. Then what it will return? Is empty? Is empty? Yes, true. If you have some elements, is empty? False, it will return. Negative, right? So that is what I'm checking here. Includes good dot is empty is equal to false. Means is empty returns false normally. Is empty is equal to not means what? If it is not empty. If it is not empty means what? It contains some values. It is not empty means what? It contains some value. If it is contains some values, and print them in the report. Print them in the report. That is a conditional statement. If it is not empty, that means what? Some values are there. If the values are there, then print them. Okay. If it is an empty, there are no values, then don't print them. So that is a condition we are validating in the if condition. Okay. So this is a utility file. So this is the way we need to populate some common information into the report. So this part. Now come to the on test. On test success. And here we created a new test case in the report. So what exactly it will do is create a test method, will create a new entry in the test case. So from the result object, because whenever your on test success method is got triggered, the result will capture all the result information from the test method. So from that result, we are getting the which class we have executed. From the result, we will extract the class, which class we have executed. From that class, we are getting the name of the class. See, we are executing these classes from the test cases, right? So class is nothing but what? This one. And this is a method name. Normally what happens in the extend report, these methods names will be displayed, but I don't want to display the method names. I want to display the class name. That is actually representing the test, right? Test case. So that I want to display. So for that, what I can do here is from the result, get the class, from the class, get the name of the class. And without a class name, I'm creating the new entry in the report. Okay. And also from that particular test, from that result, whichever test method is got executed, getting that method, and whichever group the test method is got assigned, I'm also getting that groups, and that also I'm adding to the test. Because along with the test case, I'm also adding the group, which group the test case belongs to. And then finally, I'm adding the log status.pass result.getName. So the result.getName is nothing but again, same name of the class and got successfully executed. This is the message I have added. So once we generated the report, you will see all these options. Okay. So we can also display the group names in the report in the test case wise. Okay. In the common tabular format, you can specify the group names. Along with that, each test case wise also will specify the group name. So this will do that job. Same thing for on test failure. So from the result, we are getting the class name, class. First, we are getting the class. From the class, we are getting the name. With that name, we are creating the test. Also, we are assigning the category, which category that test is belongs to. Category in the sense group only. Okay, there is no something new. Category is nothing but a group. So assign category, result.get method, get group. So from the result, from the method, getting all the groups, whichever groups that method is got added, and add those groups to the particular test case. So that is called assign category. But in on test failure, we need to do some additional stuff. What is that additional stuff? So along with the status we have printed. So we also printed the error message in the error message also we can print in the report. Apart from that, we should also attach the screenshot of the report. So screenshot of the failure. So on the screen, wherever the failure is happened, we need to capture the screenshot, attach the screenshot to the report. So how we can do that? We need to do some few changes. So when this on test failure method will be triggered, whenever a test method is got failed, then on test method will be triggered. On test failure method will be triggered. And after execution of the statement, so what this statement will do is, in the base class, whatever we created in the base class, we should also add one more method which will capture the screen. Okay, so first we go back to the base class, add that method, because capture screen method is common for all the test cases, right? So where we have to put this capture screen method? In the base class. So we need to go back to the base class. So inside the base class, I will add capture screen method. Let me add it. So listen very carefully, guys. If you miss something, again, you cannot proceed further. So this is the method I have added. So this is the new method which I have added. I will go through this also. So for a few seconds, let us come back to the base class. So here we stopped. So on test failure, here we are attaching the screenshot to the report. But before attaching the screenshot to the report, we have to capture the screenshot, right? Once we have captured the screenshot, then only we can attach the same screenshot to the report. But this on test failure will execute on test failure whenever test method is got failure. So these statements will be executed. But before executing this, the screenshot will be available. So where we have to capture the screenshot. So go to the base class. We have added a new method here, capture screen. And this capture screen method will take some name as a parameter because we need to provide some name to the screenshot. So normally, whatever the method name we have given to the test method, same name, we will capture the screenshot. So we'll take one test name. And inside this, even the screenshot also, we have to save with the timestamp. Okay, the screenshot also we have to save with the timestamp, because sometimes what happens is same page, same test case, if you run multiple times, it capture multiple screenshots. If I give same name, the old screenshot will be replaced with the new screenshot. So always, whenever you are generating some files, try to save with the timestamp. Okay. Same command I've used, string timestamp equal to new simple date format. This date format we have to import from java.text, and date also we need to import from java.util package. Remember this, java.util package. And take screenshot we need to import from Selenium. Output type also we need to import. And then file. So we already seen how to capture the screenshot concept earlier. So again, do not ask now. If you have not understood this, go through my previous class again. So I already asked everyone to practice the stuff. So again, the same thing is repeated here. So first I have generated the timestamp. Okay. And how to capture the screenshot, we already know that. So we need to use a takes screenshot. A special type of interface is there, right? So we have assigned the driver to the screenshot. So driver, we will anyway, we'll get it from the base class itself. We are creating the driver, so we can directly use it. And source file we are getting, but we have to copy the source file to target file. So here, where we have to copy this in the project location in the screenshot folder, and with the timestamp. So T name, whatever the name I'm passing to the screenshot, with that name underscore the timestamp which we generated. So what could be the name of the screenshot now? Whatever name here we are getting, the name of the test method underscore the timestamp which we generated dot png, because it's a screenshot. So this is the actual name which will be generated with the timestamp. Okay, now this is a target file. So now what we need to, we need to copy the source file into target file. For that, we have to use this command, source file dot rename to target. And once it is done, finally what we are returning, we are returning the path where exactly the screenshot is located, the target file path, screenshot path I am returning. So this is the method will do that. So capture screen method will capture the screenshot of the test. Wherever it is got failed, it will automatically capture the screenshot. Okay, but who will call this method? Where we have to call this method? Because until unless we call this method, the capture screenshot method cannot capture the screenshot, right? We have to call it. But when we need to call, every time for every step? No, right? Whenever the failure is happened, right? Whenever the test is got failed, then we will capture the screenshot. See, if we don't return the path, because this path we have to use in the report, extend report manager. Okay, because as soon as you copied the file path source to target, because based on this path only, we will attach the screenshot to the report. Otherwise, you cannot attach the report. You cannot attach the screenshot to the report if you're not written the path. It will just capture the screenshot and keep it in the folder. That's it. What is the use of it? Right? So if the file is just you copied that, but you have not written that, then what will happen? The screenshot is available in the screenshot folder, but that is not part of the report. Okay. So this part. So this is a way we need to capture the screenshot. This part is clear, everyone. So don't go beyond that. I will come to each and every step. So still I have not discussed about try catch block and all these things. So just this part is clear or not? Just tell me that. Okay, so don't go beyond this. I've just captured the screenshot method. I've written one new screenshot method. But the next step is what? When we have to execute this method, from where we have to execute this method. So these are the two questions. When to execute and from where we have to execute. So normally when to execute this method? Whenever a test method is got failed, whenever a test method is got failed, then we'll execute this method, right? From where we will execute? Where we will execute? How we will know whether test method is got failed or not? At the runtime. In the runtime, how we will know whether the test method is failed or not? Yes, in the extend report manager, we have this method, right? On test failure. So if the test method is got failed, this on test failure method will execute, right? If my test method is got failed, immediately on test failure will trigger or not? Yes. If on test failure is triggered means what? My test method is got failed. So inside this on test failure itself, we have to call capture screenshot method. Why we have to call this capture screen method on test failure? Because capture screenshot method will be called only on the failures. But how we will know whether test method is failure or not? If on test failure is got executed, that means what? My test is got failed. Okay. So when to execute capture screen method? Whenever the test method is got failed, then capture screen method should be executed. That means whenever on test failure method is got triggered, then we have to execute capture screen method. First point is clear. Second, why we are calling this capture screen method only from the on test failure? Because on test failure will be executed only on the failure cases. So here we need to call. But if you look at the capture screen method, go to the base class. Capture screen method is created under what? Base class. Can we access this capture screen method directly from the base class? Directly from the base class? No, because this is not a static method. This is not a static method, right? So how we have accessed this here is extend report manager. I have created an object for the base class, new base class. But the object I have not stored in another variable. I have just avoided that variable, okay? I have created an object for the base class. From that object, I have called capture screen method. And what capture screen method is expecting parameter? Name of the method. So whenever you execute in the capture screen method here, it is expecting some name in the string format. So in the extend report manager, I'm getting the name of the method from the result itself. Because the result contains the name of the method, right? Which method is got failed. That information is it will store. So from the result object, I'm getting the name, and that particular name I'm passing to the capture screenshot method. So what capture screenshot method will return finally? From here, the cursor will go to base class capture screen method, and this will be executed. And finally, it will return the location or path of the screenshot. And again, that we are capturing into the variable image path. You got my point? So this statement will invoke capture screen method from the base class and by passing the name, and it will return the location of the image. And now this image we need to attach to the report. So test is representing the report. So test.add screen capture from path. And here we need to pass this image file path. That's it. So this will go and attach the screenshot to the report. These two things will do parallelly. So as soon as the test case is got failed, Immediately it will capture the screenshot method will trigger, screenshot will be captured, and as soon as screenshot is captured, this statement will attach the screenshot to the report. Okay. And why I put this in the try catch block? For example, if the screenshot is not properly taken, okay, if the screenshot is not properly taken or screenshot is not available, it is still trying to attach the screenshot to the report. So in that case, file not found exception you will get. Okay. In that case, we'll get a file not found exception. So we will put in the try catch block. If the screenshot available, no problem. Catch block will not exist. If the screenshot is not available, then it will throw some exception. So just we are capturing that exception. That's it. So this is an on test failure. So the main crucial thing is this part. You need to understand this. So capture screenshot method we already created in the base class. So that's the reason by creating a base class object, this is a base class object. New keyword will create a new object. But that object I'm not stored into another variable. I'm directly used here. And dot capture screen result dot get name. And it will return the image path. And with that image path, I'm attaching the report to the report. I'm attaching the screenshot to the report. So it is print stack trace. Okay, this is a predefined method which we can access from the event. And this will just display the exception message. That's it. Print stack trace means in the console box, in the console window, it will just print some warning message, something like that. Because once you catch it, we need to write something in the console window, right? Even if you remove that, no problem. So everybody's understood on this on test failure, how we can implement this method. There are so many things are there, but you need to split them and try to understand. Even though if you don't know and if you not remember those methods, still that is fine. But if you look at the statement, you should know why this statement is written, why this statement is written, why these statements are written. You need to understand at least that much for. Okay. And method names and all not important to remember. But when you look at the statement, you should understand that what exactly it is. Okay. Every statement you should understand. That's the reason I'm going to each and every step. So what this particular statement will do, this one will do. We need to split it actually. So result, from the result, it is getting the class, and from the class, it is getting the name of the class. And with that name, it is creating the new test entry in the report. That's the meaning of it. And what's the meaning of this? From the result, it is getting the test method, whichever we executed. And from the test method, it is getting the groups. In which group the test method is belongs to. It is capturing those groups, and those groups will be attached to the report as a category wise. And this is we are updating the test cases failure information. Here we are printing the error message. And here we are attaching the screenshot. How we are attaching the screenshot? From the base class, we are calling a screenshot method by passing the name of the test. And it will return the image path. And by using this particular method, add screen capture from path, we are attaching the image. That's it. And this is on test failure. Okay. Everybody is clear on this? At least you need to understand the very high level, what exactly it is doing. Because this is a utility file. Okay. Even if you're not understood, there is no problem at all. Because you can just copy paste this code as it is in your projects. I can use it. And now on test script is very straightforward. And we are creating the new test by getting the class name and getting the class and get the name and create the new test, and assign category. Again, groups also we're attaching. And because on test skip method will execute whenever the test method is got skipped, this will be added. And also the message why it is got skipped. So that also I'm adding. This is on test skips. Very simple. Now this is important. On finish. On finish. So in the on finish, we have to do few things actually. So only one, this method is enough. Extend.flush. So this method will consolidate all the information from the report, and finally it will generate it. This one single statement is enough on non-finish, but I have written an additional statement. What exactly it is doing is, so normally where the report will be generated? Under reports folder. And if you want to open the report, how we will open? You need to go to the report folder And then we need to right click on the report file, right click, open in the browser. We have to do it manually, right? So instead of avoiding this part, suppose as soon as I have executed my test cases, as soon as my report is got generated, immediately it will automatically open. I don't want to open the report manually. I want to open the report automatically. For that, we can add this piece of code. So what this will do is from the project location, from the reports folder, and whatever report name we passed here, we already generated this report name, right? With the same report name I'm referring. So that I'm going to store in a variable. Basically, this is the path of the report. And then we have to create a file object, file extend report equal to new file, because extend report.html, that is also a file. So we'll create a file object equal to new file and pass this location into this. Now, what is this extend report is representing? Extend report file. And in this, we have to call one method called desktop is a predefined class. In this, we have a method called getDesktop dot browse, and whatever extend report we captured, that extend report dot to URI. What this method will do is this particular method will open this report on the browser automatically. We no need to write, we no need to open the report manually. It will automatically open the report on browser. So why I put in the try catch block? For example, if this external report is not available, this will throw some exception. So that's the reason I put in the try catch block. So this is the additional piece of code, optional code. So if you want, you can write it or else you can comment it, no problem. So this piece of code you can comment. Okay. Because if you include this code, we no need to open the report manually. It will automatically opens. And this is all other piece of code. Basically, this will automatically send an email. Suppose as soon as you generated your report, right? So you want to send that report to your team automatically. As soon as your automation tests are completed execution, immediately we want to send the report. Then you can enable this piece of code. Okay, so I can just remove this code. Okay, so just I'm commenting this. Okay, so I'm just uncommented this code. So what exactly this code will do is, I will tell you, just a second. All right, so I put this everything in the try block. Okay, so let's go through this. So what exactly this piece of code will do? So this piece of code will actually send a report automatically whenever the report is got generated. So for that, what we need to do is, first we need to get the, okay, so we already have a report in the reports folder, right? In which format? .html format. Okay, so that we will open in the browser. So here we need to convert that path into URL format. So URL format of URL. So normally when I open the report in the browser, you will get the URL in the browser, right? So this is the URL format actually. So file colon slash 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 current project directory reports folder report name. So this is a location that will convert into URL. And then we have few methods, image, HTML, all these things we have, but we need to add some dependency actually. We haven't added Java email dependency. We need to add. Let's go to MVN repository and search for Java email. Okay, so Apache common email. You can just go with this. So 160, you can get it. So go to pom.xml. So add this dependency. Okay, so now go back here. So now we can get image HTML email. So this package we have to import. So all this stuff we need to import. So you can see import data source URL resolver, all these things we need to import. Okay, done. So first we need to convert the report URL format, and then we have to create. There is a lot of stuff is guys, because I'll tell you just main important stuff what you have to change. So this email host name, port number is depends upon the email server. So this particular piece of code will work for only Gmail. If you want to use Yahoo email, or suppose if you are working in some company, you will have a corporate ID, right? Like your name at the rate your company name.com. So this keeps changing. So this is not a constant value. Okay, this keeps saying this is for only google.com. You have a Gmail ID, you can try this. And this is a port number. And here you need to provide the authentication information, like who is sending the email ID and their password. You need to specify. And here again, sent from sender email ID and the subject of the email. And in the email body, whatever message you want to write, you can write it. And then from whom you want to send an email. Like you can add one single email ID, or you can add multiple email IDs. So normally, if you don't have if you want to add multiple email IDs, you will create one something called distribution list, DL. In your real-time companies, suppose if 10, 20 members are working in one single team, right? Suppose a manager want to send an email or to all the 20 members. So they don't include all 20 people in the CC or anywhere. So they will create one combined email ID. That email ID contains everybody in the team. That's called distribution list. We can call this a DL email. So that you will specify normally here. And then what is an attachment we have to attach to email? So URL, the name of the file, attachment name, and you can put some message. And send is a method which will automatically send an email. So if there is any problem at the time of sending, or the file is not properly attached or not properly sent, then catch block will execute. So this piece of code we can use to send automated email to the team. Okay. So you guys can try this later, but you need to provide your own email address and your email password. Okay. So I will just put this in the comment. I'm not showing this now. I just given the functionality. If you want, you can export this. Line number 80. Where is that 80? Okay. What is your question, Rasmi? This is on test failure. Okay, so this is a last method on finish. So on flush is enough, but this is extra code I have written. So this piece of code for what? Automatically the report will be open. I will show you that functionality also. And rest of them are for sending an email. So line number 81, 82, 81, 82 is basically for what? 80 is nothing but on test failure. So this method will be triggered automatically. 81 is nothing but here we are creating the new entry in the test report. This is the same for these two methods. So these two statements are same for every method. Here we have written. Also here also we have written every test on test success, on test failure, on test skip also we have written the same statements. Basically what those two statements will do is from the result, it will capture the class. From the class, which class we have executed, that class will be captured and get the name of the class. With that name only, we will create a test case entry in the report. And the second step is suppose which category the test case classes belongs to, because we have added multiple groups, right? So which group they are belongs to. So that also information we can capture from the result, get a method, because the groups we have added only to the methods, right? So get a method, and that method is belongs to which group. So it will capture all the groups. So the group information is also attached to the particular test method. So that is all about two statements. To display the group information on the report, we will add this statement. Okay. So this is the full-fledged and final external report manager file. Okay. And one more thing. So this Gmail accounts, don't try multiple times, because sometimes your Gmail account will be blocked, because we are controlling everything through automation. So Gmail servers, some production applications will not support. Okay. If you do multiple rounds of execution on the Gmail, they may be blocked. So just do only 1 or 2 rounds max and don't go beyond that. If you face any issues, just stop doing it. But in the real time, you don't have any problem because you will have a corporate ID here and the server details also will be different. So you won't face any issues. But I'm giving this piece of code for reference purpose. In future, if you want to use, you can do it. Okay. And you need to change all the details, whatever is required. Done. So this is the extend report manager. Now let's go back and see the steps. First, we have created extend report utility class under utilities package. Then we have added capture scheme method in the base class also. This is also we have done. The next one is we need to add extend report utility listener class entry in the XML file, right? We need to add this entry in the XML file. Then only it will able to execute. So let's do that. In XML file, we need to add that entry. Okay, go back to master suite and where we can add this listener entry. So before test is started here, I can add. So what we need to add? Listeners, right? Listeners, opening tag and end tag. Inside the listeners, listener. Okay, this is the listener tag, opening tag and closing tag. And inside the listener, inside this listener itself, listener, class name, class hyphen name equal to, and then closes. So we need to specify the listener class name along with the package. So where it is there under utilities. So you can say utilities dot, what is the name? Extend report manager. Extend report manager. Okay, that's it. So I will also create one final XML file, which will have all the listeners, groups and everything. So this is a way we can attach the report. And even if you want to attach this another XML files, you can do that. So go to grouping.xml file. So where we need to add here listener. So here we can add before the test. In all XML files, we need a report, right? So I'm just adding that. Even in the parallel cross-browser testing is also, if you want to add listeners, you can add it here. That's it. Okay, everywhere in all XML files, we have added listener class. Now, whichever XML file you want to execute, you can execute. So let us try to execute grouping because we can also populate the groups in the report, right? So that you can see. So let's go. And one more step, we forgot it here. Just a moment. Go to the document and last step. So we need to make sure WebDriver is static in the base class because we refer the same driver instance in the extend report utility. See, if I go back to the extend report utility class. Okay, so in this, we are calling the capture scheme method, right? So here we are calling the capture scheme method. And what we are passing here, name of the file we are passing, name of the class we are passing. Then it will go to the base class. In the base class, it will call the capture scheme and get the name. But inside this, we are using this driver, right? We are using this driver. So basically one driver will be created here. And from the extend report manager, we are creating a new object. Whenever you create a new object for the base class, okay, then what will happen? Base class will have another object. Even that object also having a new driver, right? See, two drivers will be creating now. So first in the base class, anyway, we already have one driver here. We already created one driver instance here. Now, in the extend report manager, we created an object of the base class. So inside the object also, there is one more driver, right? So the base class driver and the object related driver are not the same because as soon as your object is created, that is separate. So there are two different drivers are there. So there will be conflict. Then what we need to do? We need to make WebDriver as a static. Then the same driver will be referred in the object also. You got my point? So we need to make WebDriver also static. We need to also WebDriver also static. Why we need to do this? Because the base class will anyway will create one driver and that is referring everywhere. But additionally, in extend report manager, this base class object also having their own driver, because we created an object. We are not directly accessing the driver from the base class. So this will have another driver. But if you have a two driver instances, definitely there will be conflict. Execution will not be happen. So how we can make it as a common variable across multiple objects? If you want to make it as a common variable, what is the way we can follow? Only by making the variable a static. In the Java classes, we discussed that. So I should make this as a static. Okay, this is the last step. Fine, perfect. So all the steps we have successfully executed, done. So now let us execute and see the reports. So everything I'm closing. So whichever XML file you want to execute, you can execute. So I'm choosing grouping XML file so that I want to display the group names also in the report. So what I will do is I will try to execute the master group. I'll include this master group. Master means by default, all two test cases will be executed. Perfect. So now run as test engine test. So this is my first test is got executed. Second test is got executed. Now you can see, observe, report is automatically opens. See this, earlier we haven't seen this option. Report is automatically created and automatically open. I have not opened report manually. Earlier what I have done, earlier we went to this report folder. Where is report folder? I have refreshed it. And after refreshing, I got a report, and then I just right click here. We opened with the system editor. So this is the process we followed. So now we no need to do like this, automatically open. And if you look at the report name, you can see the timestamp. With the timestamp, it is got generated. See, I will run one more time, and then we will see report history is maintaining or not. So I'll close this report. Now just one more round I'm executing. And this time I will intentionally fail the test case. And then we will see whether the screenshot also attaching or not in the report. So for example, in the login test, I'm passing email and password from the properties file, right? So what I will do is I will just pass some invalid password so that my test will definitely be failed. So I can just comment this part. And instead of this getting password from the properties file, or else if you want to change, you can change this in the property file also. Okay, let me change in the property file better. I'm passing the invalid password. Go to the property file, close this. Where is our property file? Resources, configure property file. This is a valid password, right? So I'm giving some invalid password. I can say this. How can we comment the, if you want to comment something in the console, in the properties file, you will use hash. Okay, hash is a comment. This will be different. XML file comment is different. Java file comment is different. Property file comment is different. Okay, I just commented this. Now I put this test at the rate 123. I say test at the rate 12345. Invalid password. So my intentionally I'm failing my login test. Okay, now go to the grouping.xml and then execute. So I want to see the two reports. First round I have already executed. Both the tests are passed. Second round again I executed. One test is got failed. Okay, login test. This is got failed. Okay, done. Fine. So now we can see automatically report. This is the latest report. So if I look at the first test, let me increase the font. Yeah, now we can see the name is displayed or not. Exact name from the test cases. Test case ID is displaying. Earlier, the previous sessions, only the test methods are get displayed. So now you can see I selected my failure test. It is also attached to the screenshot. See, when I click on the screenshot, it will be bigger size. So I can close this if you want. So you can see the timestamp, the details, everything will be displayed here. Everything is and also group names. You can see this particular login is belongs to both sanity and master, right? So sanity is displayed, master is also displayed. And in the go to the first test case, which is belongs to actually account registration test is got passed. So which is belongs to registration and master, two groups. And this is one report. Now go to the second one. This is the one. Here you can see all the information in the group wise. So from the master group, how many test cases are executed? 2 test cases, because both are belongs to master. From the regression, one test is got executed. From the sanity, also one test got executed. So this is group wise result or category wise results. So this also we can check it. This is the additional stuff we can see in the report. Now the third page, go to the graph section. In the graph section also you can see everything in the graphical mode. So when it started, when it got completed, so how many are got executed, passed, failed, all other information you can see here. Yeah, now you can see this particular table, tags. So from the master suite, how many are got passed? One passed, one failed. 50% passed. In the regression side, one executed, one passed, no failure, 100% passed from the regression. From the sanity, one is got failed, rest of them are not executed, so 0%. Only one sanity got executed. So this is a tabular format also, you can see this. Now system and environment details. So here, all the details are automatically populated. So name, we have to put this actually, I think. Oh, this is the header actually. Application is OpenCAD, module name, submodule name, user name, environment, which operating system we have executed, on which browser we have executed, and which group we have executed. Master group is specified in the XML file, right? That we capture. So in detailed report we can generate. So in the first page, second page, third page, 3 pages of information will be displayed. First page, you can see only test cases, passed or failure. In screenshot also will be displayed here. Second page, group wise results you can see. Third page, graphical format and overall summary type of report you can see here. This is a ultimate report for automation. Extend report. If you keep on adding more number of test cases, it looks very, very beautiful. Okay, so now we can see world report. First round I have execution run, so I have done. Let me refresh it. See, the top one is a previous report. So you can also maintain the history of the report. So you can open this, the system editor. So first time both are passed, right? So I got both are passed. And you can group also, group wise information also displayed. And here it will show you the graphical information in the third section. Everything is passed, so everything is green. And popular information is populated here. So this is how we have to generate the report. Clear, everyone so far? Everything is done by extend report manager utility file. This is the most important file. This is the customized one. If you want, you can change the theme and everything, other information and everything. If you want, you can change it. So clear, everyone so far? Please confirm in the chat box. So you need to practice this step by step. Extend report utility, capture scheme, extend report utility, everything you should do step by step practice. Now I'll take another 5 minutes, guys. So I'll take a small topic, very simple. How to run failure test cases. This is a very important scenario. Even in interview also, people will ask you the question. Let us say you have 100 test cases. For example, you have 100 test cases. In 100 test cases, in the first round of execution, in the round 1, 90 test cases are got passed, 10 test cases are got failed. Now in the second round of execution, I want to execute only these 10 test cases. How it is possible? How it is possible? So whatever tests are already passed, I don't want to execute again. I want to execute only failure test cases. I want to capture these failure test cases somewhere, and that I want to execute. So how it is possible? So if you execute XML file, normal XML file, it will again execute all the test cases, right? By default, it will execute all the test cases. So if you go back and see, like let us go to the master suite, for example. So if I go back to the master suite, in the master suite, we specify all the test cases. Let's say you mentioned here 10 test cases. First time, few test cases got passed, few test cases are failed. Next time, whatever fails are there, so only failure test case I want to execute. Again, if you run this XML, then what happens? Whatever has got passed earlier, those tests also will be executed. I don't want to happen this. Only failure test I want to execute. If you have 100 test cases, how it will remove and how we will add, it is very tedious task, right? So again, removing, adding the test cases is a tedious step. I don't want to remove anything. I don't want to add anything. Let it be the XML file. But still, I want to run only failure test cases. So in TestNG is provided one important feature, very, very useful feature. I'll tell you what is that feature, okay? So for example, let's say, go to the mastersuite.com. So I'm running the 2 test cases, okay? Anyway, login test will definitely fail, right? So next round, I want to execute only login test, whichever is got failed. First round, I will execute both the test cases. Account registration will pass, login will fail. Now next round, I want to execute only login. Okay, we'll see that first. Very carefully listen this. I'm running the test suite. You can take any test suite. Now I'm running my test suite, master suite. Look at here. So account registration test is got executed and passed. Now login is executing, which is got failed. Which is got failed. Okay, done. So report is got generated. So one is got passed, one is got failed. Now in the next round, I want to execute only login test. So next round, what I will do is I will fix the issue. So go to the properties file and I will fix the issue. Okay, now I make the correct password. Then I want to execute only login test, but I don't want to change this XML file. So then how we can do it is TestNG is provided one important feature. So whenever your execution is completed, whatever tests are got failed, those tests will be captured into a separate XML file. That is automatically happen. We no need to capture. But where that XML file is present? In the test-output. I refresh this one, test-output. Inside this, inside the test-output, expand this folder. Inside the test-output, you can see one XML file called testng failed.xml. testng-failed.xml. If you open this XML file, it is captured whichever tests are got failed. And also it include all the methods by default, okay? So this XML file contains only failure cases in the previous run. In the previous run, whatever failures are there will be captured into the XML file. Now, just execute this XML file. No need to execute master.xml. Just execute only this. Now the login will execute. Only login will execute and it will pass. Just observe one more time. Okay. Now the login test is got passed. Okay. Now again, close this XML file. Close master suite. Again, refresh test-output. Refresh. Now, can you guess? TestNG.xml file contains the entry or not? TestNG.fail.xml contains the entry or not? Previously, the test is got failed, so it is captured the entry. But now this time it is got passed, right? Still, will it have the entry or not? Still, the entry is there. Still, the entry is present. Why? Because this entry will be here till the next failure is happen. So the next failure, some other test cases got failed, right? In that time, this will be replaced with the new test. Till that time, this entry will not be deleted, even though it is got passed. Okay, that is the default behavior of XML file. Okay, next time, observe very carefully. So till the entry is still there. Now this time I will fail another test case. So go to account registration test. So I make the login is passed. So in account registration test, I'm trying to fail this one. Account registration test, I'm going to fail. Just observe carefully. So just you need to observe the behavior. Okay, that's the reason I'm running multiple times. Go to master.xml file normally. Okay, so just go to master.xml. I'm running this. I'm running both the test cases again. This time login will pass, but account registration test will fail. But what is the entry we have in the fail.xml file? Login entry still there. Even it is passed in the previous run, still entry is there. But when the entry will be replaced with the new entry, some other test cases got failed in future, that will be replaced. Now when I execute this, so now you can just observe, this is the account registration is successfully done, but I given title is wrong, so that is got failed. So this is our login test. So one test got passed, so you can see account registration is failed, login is passed. Now go and refresh the test type now. Every time you need to refresh this, right? After refreshing, just observe, I'm opening testng fail.xml. See now, the login test case entry is gone. Now in the recent run, whichever is got failed, that is got captured. So if both the tests got failed, both the entries will be captured. Both the entries will be captured. So let me fail both the test cases then. So go back to the properties file one more time and let us change the password. So how many test cases are got failed? All test cases will be captured. Now this time I'm failing both the test cases. Now just observe how it is going to work. So again, go to master.xml file. So I'm running both. Previously, how many entries are there in the testng XML file? Failed.xml file, only one entry, registration test. So this time I'm failing both the test cases. Okay, first test case is got failed. Now the second one is started. This is also get failed. Perfect. So now how many entries we should see? So both the entries, both the test cases are got failed. Both have captured the screenshots. You can see the group wise result, the graph wise is everything, right? So now if I look at here, go to test-report, refresh. Now, how many entries you can see? 2 entries. Go to the file.xml. Now you can see here. This is account registration test. This is the login test. Okay. So now I want to execute only failure test. Then what you need to do? You can just correct the test cases. Go back, make them correct. I remove this one, save, and again go to properties file. Everybody's understood the functionality, how it exactly working. If you want to run only failure test cases, this is the procedure. So after fixing the issues, then again, I'm running the only testng.failed.xml file. So this will be very, very useful feature, guys. So you don't need to run all the test cases every time. Only on the failures, we can execute this, whichever failures. It will reduce a lot of things. So you don't need to execute all the test cases multiple times. So this time everything is got passed. Now you tell me entries are still exist or entries will be removed in testng.xml file. Entries will be there or entries will be gone after passing. Still they are exist. Okay. So how much time they will exist till the next runs are failure. So even though they are passed, still entries are exist. Suppose in the next run some other things are failure, then these things will be replaced. So this is the default working mechanism of this testng-fail.xml. Okay. So with this, we have finished 9th step. Clear? So we'll stop here today's session. Till now, we have almost done 70% of the framework we have completed. 70% of the framework we come because these are all only one-time job. Grouping, external report adding, and failure test case execution, data-driven test. These are all one-time job. So in the next sessions, we will focus on the execution part and the maintenance part. So also grid environment, how we can run the test cases on remotely, parallelly, multiple environments. So that also we'll see in the next class. So till now, whatever you completed, so just practice them and finish everything. And the next class, Monday class, you can demonstrate your framework with your own words. You can share your screen. You can demonstrate what are the files you created, how execution is happening, all the 9 steps. So far, whatever we have completed, all the steps, you have to explain yourself. Okay, that is a plan for next class. And then we will proceed further topics. Once you finish it till here, everyone should be finished. Once you finish, then only I will proceed further stuff. Okay. So I already shared the document. Once again, I will share it, all the files and everything. You guys can take it. Now you can see all the reports will be captured and maintain the history. Also, you can see all the screenshots are captured, maintain the history. Everything is there in the framework, everything we have done. Okay. So that's it for today's session. I'll stop here and we will continue in the next class.